I must clarify that most of your question will be answered in this session. Even if you are left with some, make it a good list and find these leaders around yourself throughout the day. They're here. How many of you have heard about SaaS? SaaS? That's software as a solution. But today we are here to talk about UAS. That's upskilling as a solution. How many of you have heard about AI? That's artificial intelligence. And today we are here to discuss about IA. That's intelligence augmentation. These are the professionals who are the leaders in HR fraternity, and they are also looking at L&D. Now that we have spoken about retention as the new recruitment, we know that 99, if I can add to it, 99.99% of HR leaders are worried and concerned in all positive manners about retaining their workforce. And L&D has been proven to be the most cost efficient, if we really compare it to hire a new employee, is the best solution for that. Today, we will surely discuss about what are the best practices going on with the large conglomerates such as Capgemini and others, but also to discuss how the L&D program for any individual can be aligned with the business goals of the companies, and also for a person for its personal growth. Yeah? Can we start with the lady on the panel? Tell me what has been different in the last 1 year. Let's not go to that pandemic era, but what has been different in the last 1 year with the incoming of chatbots, AI, and most of the technology? Now that we all know, after a lot of discussions and panel discussions and dialogues about robotics and human coexisting together in the future, we have to, as humans, compete with technology, and we have the best of the L&D leaders to enable that in a good sense.
Resham, thank you. I will answer this question with two aspects and two perspectives. One is employee perspective and second is the organization perspective. So from employee perspective, there is too much of availability, too many options available to employees within the organization, outside the organization. The whole AI concept has brought together, the bouquet of trainings to people. It has also helped organizations to be able to understand what employees want through multiple things, surveys, predictive analysis, etc., and all this is being helped by technology today. But apart from that, for example, something that can be pushed onto the phones. We see youngsters, always hooked onto their phones. Can we make learning possible on phones? Can we have micro learnings because the span of attention is low? Can we have these things being enabled by AI, technology is something that organization needs to understand, and probably they're looking at it, it's helping organizations to do that. At the same time, employees now are very self-aware, and as Prashant in the last...
Apologies, I'm interjecting. Can you please help us? There is some sound. Much better, much better.
I was hearing Prashant in the last panel, and he was talking about how this generation is so smart, they know what they want. And if I look back, few years back, 20 years back, if somebody asked me, what do you want, at that very moment, probably I had to think and, answer that question. But youngsters today know what they want. So, and that's because the number of activities that are happening because of technology, the options available to them. So just to summarize, AI has enabled the thought process that needs to be there with people, the younger generation, on what they want, and organizations are being enabled on how can they be given that.
Understood, fair point, yeah. Shaleen, going to you. Tell me what's been different in last 1 year with the AI coming into play, and also what you had to do differently in last year.
Okay, so good question. In last 1 year, what I have seen, particularly in my organization, is that from delivery to facilitation, right, there is a lot of change in terms of on-demand learning. I have never seen it before that people have come to us and said that they have certain demands, like 2 days back, I have got a MICI leader with me who's looking after the market intelligence and consumer insight. He wanted to discuss with me about the BIE training, right? And the guy has got almost all the tools, but he wanted to start with some new tool which he feels that really help us to manage the global MICI team, which we are planning to give it to him. So there's a lot of on-demand learning that happens. And to my surprise, that ChatGPT part that you've taken over, I have already seen that in pockets in my organization, people on their own has done the certification on ChatGPT. And in one of my team member also has done it because I have not really paid for that. And the guy is all managing the talent acquisition part. And I have personally seen that the kind of job description he used to make for almost half a day, he's coming back to me in like 10 minutes or so. He's become a pro now. So people are not really dependent on the CPOs or the organization to really invest on them. They are more than happy to do that in case we do that, but they know that how they want to now demand their own learnings. And if you are not investing in them, they can go all and do it themselves. One thing why it has happened, why there is a shift over in terms of behavior in employees that has happened. What we have felt post-pandemic, that people have actually observed and sensed that in case they don't learn, they will not grow. So inherently, they have got to know that we have to continuously learning in order to be at the edge, to grow, right? And one more thing, there is a fear. Every single day, there is a news that comes in job cuts, the biggies are moving out. They feel that if they're in the game, at least when they talk to the people, talk to their leaders, they feel that this guy is investing in himself. Okay, it's a good guy. So that's how 1 year shift I have seen it, and it is very positive because we are not pushing people to get learned and learn it. The demand is coming from them. And that is the transition which I personally seen in the last 1 year, and which is a very healthy sign in the organization. And I'm sure most of you will also resonate with me also. So this will continue. Trust me, learning and division that we have is going to play a significant role. Plus, because now we have a joint partner, which is employees now. Yeah. So that's my take.
I mean, a very valid and fair point. I totally, completely agree with you. And also clearly, technology and advancement in it has clearly cut down on the time taken, and also the redundancy. It will also continue to do so. We will come to Vishal just because he is an expert in AI. We'll come to you later. Before going to you, I'll come to you, Mayur. In your area and in your leadership, what has been different in the last 1 year? And also tell us about how you have been able to integrate tech well in your strategies.
Yeah. See, I represent business development team. So we are considered to be a breadwinner for a family and so on and so forth. But we are also a team which has seen in most of the organization, if I can talk about, where the stability of the retention has been at a suboptimal level. Now, predominantly this is because of the kind of skills that we have, or probably the way the world has been moving. Now, the product that we have been dealing with is too inclined towards the technical side of it, and the sales folks have been told most of the time about how the solutioning is going to be. But when it comes to the real technical solutioning of it and joining the hands, I think there is a definite gap. With the organization that I represent, the kind of onboarding that we have, it starts with understanding where is the gap, taking it to the solutioning part of it, and then going for the use case specific scenarios, and thereby we were able to handle those scenarios well. Just adding to some of the points, like while Aarti was saying that it's employee and then employer, I would add it. I've seen this before COVID and after COVID scenarios in 3 dimensions. One is how did I handle, how did my corporate life have been, and I as a parent, how did I manage those scenarios as well. I think in all of these 3 scenarios, one thing remains common is that digital has actually changed the way we have lived, and the way the kids has adopted. That is phenomenally well. I have learned a couple of things, like my teenager is learning saxophone for past 3 years. on his computers with a teacher sitting in Kanpur. So that's the real world scenario, and I think I have learned a lot. I have picked up a lot of certification during those times that has actually helped me to be more sharper in my job.
Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. Coming to you, Vishal, you have been on the provider side of it. You offer solutions from AI, conversational AI, if I can specifically say so. Tell us what you have been delivering, and in terms of your observation on the demand side, how has it been?
Yep. So currently I'm on conversational AI. Definitely yes, but I basically come from the other side of table for 16 years. So I was last head of HR. I was having 12,000 people in India. So I think it all started, my journey started from there itself, because when we were growing fast, when I joined the organization, it was around 800 people. And when I left, it was 12,000. So I think one of the things which I experienced the most, or the biggest pain of mine, was that when we grew, I was getting far and far away from my people. Which means that I was not able to now communicate with everyone and know what exactly is going in their mind, how can I help them, and you become overly dependent on your team members, the managers, and they feed a lot of data to you. So that is when exactly I came through. Technology was always a back of mind. I think probably I always laughed. So I will not say technology is a competition. It is always a companion, right? It is the best friend of yours. It is all about how we see it, right? So that is where exactly I shifted my role, learned technology. Today I can write Python code myself. So I think the way I see the change happening is that, yes, technology from artificial intelligence chatbot perspective, when we say specifically, it can help us now to listen to everyone personally. Still the brain behind it is human, right? So there is still behavioral science behind it. If I'm doing, with learning and development, one of the challenges which I would have seen, which quickly we are moving towards as in the industry, is a lot of augmented reality, virtual reality, micro-learning, as I said, on-demand learning. Now you see these all things could coexist, and they are actually helping you learning fast, but at the same time, I think there is too much accessibility of these platforms right now, or I will say accessibility of the modes of learning. One thing which as an HR professional I see last 1 year, I can see that a lot of technology is now coming in where these all resources are getting integrated, and conversational AI is helping you connect with the employees from their perspective, understanding their needs, and looking at that how and what they require, how it could be delivered and facilitated by the HR professionals. So I think next 5 years specifically would be lot happening on what about learning, right? So it is about the people, as I think in the previous panel, it is all about personalization, and it is about people and their development. So it is not learning and development, it is, I keep on saying, it is learning with development. So ultimately it is, we know that what people desire, we provide them the resources, and then we keep on analyzing that is it helping them in achievement of their goals. Because till the time they are not, it is not helping their development, I'm sure that it is not helping development of an organization as well.
Good to know. Now that the for L&D leaders, the role got added with another task of redeploying people after upskilling. Upskilling is now not just upskilling, but to actually see how and where an employee can be placed well. Aarti, coming to you, tell us in your experience and in your teams, how is that been playing? When you offer some type of training, let's say personalized one, when any employee look up to you for some training and leadership programs, but how has been this function or task that has added to your role of redeploying them, or to analyze it between the departments across where an employee can be fitted well?
Resham, I'll talk about my organization, as you said, my experience. So in Capgemini, we have the philosophy, get the future you want. So basically, your career is in your hands. Everything can't be driven by one department. If you say that, HR leaders have to drive everything, it's going to be difficult, and then it will look like more of a mandate and more of a tracking mechanism. What we do is we provide different learning paths, different roles, role and skill-based growth in the organization. You choose. So if today I want to move from HR to consulting, what are the skills I need? It's published. You choose what trainings you need to do to get to that role. I'm not defining it for you. What I have defined is the framework. You go and pick and choose and take care of your learning. Certifications is in a similar way. Now there are certain things we have to guide people to go through. Yeah, for example, in technology stack, we have multiple certifications, trainings. We tell people that we would like you to certify if you want to move to the next level, because outcome-based learning is very important. There has to be an outcome for the learning. If people start seeing that, okay, I have to go, it's sometime off the work, I will get a certification, will help me find a new job, probably your intentions and the way you're managing learning function is misplaced. You have to tell people that if you learn, you probably will grow faster within the organization. You probably will have a role expansion. You have a better future in the organization. Also recognizing where industry is moving. You have to you have to be aware where the industry is moving to. You cannot sit in your, ivory tower as an HR head saying that, I will retain my people for the next 5 years. That's not the reality. People will continue to move. How can you make that journey of 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the employee spends, worthwhile, and also make it valuable to the organization? So learning to value is something that you need to keep in mind. We have a framework called Ocean Framework, and it's about, role-based skilling, role-based learning. So again, as I mentioned, your roles are defined, what competencies and what level of competencies are needed is defined. You can go assess yourself, see where you stand in terms of competency score. What trainings do you need to cover yourself with to move to that level? It's all available to employees to take their career in their hand. When they need the guidance, HR and L&D organization is always there along with their HR business partners. Similarly, tie up with the learning partners is very important. And as Mr. Chopra said, that there are so many options available. As an HR leader, you have to be conscious about what learning partners are you choosing. Everything is available right now. There's so many people who will reach out to you, but what makes it qualitative for your employees and what will really give that, I wouldn't call it return on investment, because such a hackneyed word, return on investment, and none of us can really measure it. We just keep talking about it. But what can bring value to the organization needs to be assessed. Yeah, so that's...
Definitely. Shaleen, tell us, gig is coming to play, and it's very much here. How do you really ensure that metrics, ROI, if I can say, how do you really ensure that mechanism, or let's say the result, the output, value, if I can say, when you are offering something to a partner, an employee, an associate who is associated with you, even on an employee on a full-time basis, or maybe it can be a other person who can be your gig partner, if I can say. How do you ensure the outcome? What should be the mechanism?
The gigs, right?
Yeah, majorly, okay. But also it can apply to the full-time employees.
Yes, of course. Look, again, this is one thing which is quite in discussion, and it is tossed up a lot these days. And I'm sure in the previous panel also mentioned about that the future of work definitely will embrace gig economy, and sooner the better if we embrace it now. It is anyways going to take its shape. In our organization also, we also start looking at certain roles wherein they are more repetitive in nature, whereas there is a lot of mundane work that is required. And there are enough organizations which are deploying such gig workers also, and there are independent gig workers also which gets into play. I'm sure there are many sites where you can go around and find them, and whenever you post it, and you post it like you're looking for a part-time or work from home, you will anyways find a lot of resumes around that. And it makes a lot of sense also, because the kind of atmosphere that we are into, we don't want to invest a lot on the administrative, because when we are getting our job done, obviously the major job is to get our work done, and we don't want to invest it administratively, because that is also a cost to the organization, and everything boils down to efficiency and productivity these days. And if I am getting an option of having such a team in place where I will get the best output, and also it will give me a lot of efficiency and productivity, why not? And if I bring this to any of my management leaders and CEOs, they will just hug me, because I'm sure I am talking their language, I am supporting them. So this is going to definitely be in, and as an HR leaders, we also need to find out ways and means to discuss with the functional leaders, wherein that conversation happens, then what kind of a role which they feel are more repetitive in nature, comes in silos, seasonal, and that can be pushed out, and the amount of efficiency that we create can be invested in digitalization and the future technology. This will continue. This will continue a lot.
This is one of the changes I have seen over the course of the years, wherein it is more increasingly important to get in touch with the function leader.
Absolutely.
When you are hiring at any level of employee. It's really very critical to get them
you will not be able
consulted with
to
the function leader.
bring any change until unless, and I'm sure Aarti will also agree to that, and all the co-panelists, is that it is always important to align your or take a buy-in from the leadership, because if you are making certain big changes in the organization, if you have their buy-ins, the movement becomes so easy to, and as 2030 we are all talking about, you will find out almost, and it is on internet as well, around 30 to 40% of the jobs which organization right now having an on-roll employees can be easily managed by, and there is 2 days back I have read it that the 50% of the millennials and Gen Zs are doing side jobs. You can find out, and this thing will continue, whether we will struggling with moonlighting or not, but they are enjoying it, because that gives them so much freedom to really explore themselves well. They want to work with you on 9 to 6, but there's something which gives them kick. They will continue to do so, and we should start embracing it rather than getting rid. Otherwise, you will find that they will move out and they will pursue their passion.
I can see the co-panelists nodding with smiling faces, and that clearly shows that it's an ongoing phenomena, and we have to embrace it in a bigger manner. Coming to you, Mayur, there are a lot of studies and research, and a lot of leaders also put this as a point that this is the era of skill-based learning first. When it comes to recruitment, we also look out for skills first rather than the years of experience, which was not the case a couple of years ago. Do you somehow see it as a challenge? Tell us.
Yeah, okay. There are no straight answers to this. We live in a world, I think, where there is a wicked learning environment and there is a kind learning environment. Now, you will have to live by those rules here. Skills are definitely very important, as Aarti and the others have said. What I will sum it up as that when you write a job description, it is mostly on 80% hunch and 20% on actually what you desire an outcome from there. And then somehow you would go out, at least in the kind of recruitment cycle that I have been participative. So then you go out and look for your best pick from the market, and then you stay on course, give them time, and then perform. And overall, I think it's towards on that journey you will realize that is it a good fit, and what are the skills which is missing, and over a period of time you will see a momentum of growth thereby. Coming back again to that wicked learning environment and kind learning environment, we have to make any choices around that. And soft skills versus hard skills always has its up and down. But yeah, in my previous avatars of the roles, whether it's a recruitment agency that I worked, or RegTech agencies in the SaaS world, or now in a reward and incentive SaaS solution that we have, one thing remain common is that the job descriptions and skills can define the outcome, but they are not guaranteed for the productivity that we or an organization look for.
Very practical and fair point. Coming to you quickly, Aarti, when we saw the pandemic time and there was a boom when everybody was talking about agility, resilience, leadership, involving everybody across the dimensions in decision making, soft skills, if I can bracket it well. Tell me why there has been a little pause towards soft skills. We are right now talking about skills that are in action, that are functional, yeah. But why is that the phenomena that the soft skills have been shelved right now? Do you have a take on it?
Of course. I'm not sure where is this coming from, because I don't see a pause on that. That will always exist, because the interplay of social being of human side at work is extremely important. While technology, I'm coming from a technology, hardcore technology company, tech skills, consulting skills, domain skills, industry skills are extremely important. But not to forget, you just mentioned about pandemic, we are talking about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. The human play has changed considerably. The expectations of human mind have changed considerably. People, the stress levels are different. And social skills and soft skills play more important role today than ever before. Look at hybrid mode. Earlier, and I'm not talking about too many years back in life, I'm talking about just maybe 5 years, the manager's role was very different. You report to me, I take care of you, I manage your career, you manage the KPIs. That was the relationship. Today, they are in hybrid. One team member is coming to office, another team member is probably working from home today. There has to be a team dynamic that has to be managed. There is interplay of emotions. There are things at home. Some people are still at their base location taking care of their parents. Some people have come back to the the location where you're based. There are satellite offices. Look at what we are dealing with. Look at the impact on managers of today. They are much more accountable to their teams than ever before. So social skills and social your social being in the organization is more important than ever before. In my organization, I can talk about in Capgemini, our leadership dimension for you to grow. While there are, of course, your skills about being a good sales leader, being a good, profit shaper, etc., there are skills required on agility, resilience. How are you people leader, not just people developer or people manager? How are you a people leader? How can you influence people? How can you manage team effectively? How can those leadership skills come into play? I don't see a slowdown or a pause at all. What I see is more and more importance being given to it today.
I completely echo with Aarti. Vishal, do you have a different take on this?
Exactly same actually. I think on the soft skills size, I don't know that where exactly it is coming from, that there has been a pause. I do not see that pause, because normally in my company myself as well, so we have not gone back even hybrid till now. So everybody is working from home. It has helped a great deal. I think that emotional connect has increased over the period of time. And definitely there is more thrust on learning. People have started understanding. I think post-pandemic, what has happened is that the employees have started understanding their own learning and development plans much more effectively. Along with this, definitely there is a thrust on work-life balance. They understand, they have already realized that traveling for 2 hours one way is not going to benefit them. So I think it has been much more constructive, which probably 5 years back we had to actually ask them that you need this or you have to come for this program. But today they are asking for it. And that is where exactly on-demand learning comes in. They have this access to mobile phones, applications, they are learning themselves. As my colleague was telling, that people are themselves completing these courses on ChatGPT, so nobody is asking them. So everything, this is more behavioral. So while they are still doing technical training, but I still see a behavioral aspect behind it, because they are driven by it. It is not purely technical. Yeah.
Good to know.
If I can
So
add one point
true,
to this, you know, one example comes to my mind. Just 2 years back, we were working from home, and my boss from probably, you know, a generation before me, you know, a very, very nice, you know, leader that I reported to. My daughter just peeped in on the call 3 years back. She, you know, I was on a call and she said to my, you know, global CHRO at that time, "Can you leave my mama alone for some time?" I froze. You know, it required certain level of managerial skills to accept that there is a thin line now between personal and professional life. It requires social skills. Yeah. So I'm just one small little example that I gave, but we need to understand the managers are a different ball game altogether, people are a different ball game altogether, and it requires social skills.
Very good point, very good story. That human connect still here and will continue to be. This brings me to a very, very, very simple, easy, yet very effective point that everybody across the dimensions, including the top leaders, the global ones, the Indias, everybody across the departments, across the boards, needs to be very compassionate. Towards my final question, if you, all of you, were on the other side of the table, you have a leader over you, that's L&D leader.
We still have. Oh, L&D
I know.
but we have the leaders of our.
This is a very hypothetical situation. You have an L&D leader available to you. What would be your one demand? What would you expect?
Freedom to choose.
Good to know. Vishal?
Ask me what I want. Exactly same.
Yeah, in fact, empowerment is definitely required because when you have that, you can do many better things for others as well. Otherwise, you are just handcuffed.
Good to know. Mayur?
Same, I think we are all like-minded people. I will vote for the same thing, but I think one thing which is more demanding right now is to empathize more, given that we have come out of those eras which has been trouble for all of us. We have seen our people have faced some kind of a success or failures up and down. I think empathy is something which I would ask for the leaders to keep continuing.
Thank you so much, and that's it for this discussion. This has been really insightful and a very, very lively discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you.